Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. You know how this works.
Absolutely.
We take an interesting snippet of information.
Yeah.
We just dive in.
That's right.
So today, we are talking about something I think we've all heard of.
Okay.
Ultra-processed foods.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people are kind of fuzzy on what that actually means.
Right.
What makes a food ultra-processed.
Yeah.
So we get a great snippet here.
Okay.
It's actually from a longer article, but this part I think is really interesting. It's all about defining the characteristics of these foods.
I love it.
You know?
Yeah.
How do you know if something's ultra processed or not?
Well, and I think this is where it gets really interesting because we have to go beyond just the ingredient list, you know?
Right.
We need to look at how the ingredients are transformed during processing. So, you know, that's where I think this deep dive is going to be really insightful.
So our source material jumps right in and asks, what are the defining characteristics of ultra-processed foods?
That's the question, right?
So that's our mission today, to figure out how to answer that question.
Exactly. And to answer that question, we really need to think about the difference between ultra-processed and less processed options. I mean, think about it. An apple is technically processed, right?
Yeah.
It's been picked, washed, maybe even packaged.
Yeah.
But it's a far cry from a bag of chips.
Right.
Or a frozen meal.
That's true.
You know?
So where does something like bread fall on that spectrum?
Oh, that's a great question.
Is all bread ultra-processed?
I mean, that's where we really start to see that it's a spectrum. You know, with processing, an apple is minimally processed.
Right.
You're essentially getting the fruit in its natural state. But bread can fall on different points of that spectrum. You know, if you've got a loaf that's made with just flour, water, yeast, salt, that's less processed.
Okay.
But a lot of the breads that you buy at the store, they have preservatives, added sugars, emulsifiers.
Oh, yeah.
So that pushes them further along the spectrum towards ultra-processed.
So it sounds like it's not just about the number of ingredients.
Right.
But the types of ingredients as well.
Exactly. Ultra-processed foods often contain ingredients that you wouldn't normally use in cooking at home.
Oh, like what?
Things like artificial flavors and colors.
Okay.
Stabilizers, high fructose corn syrup.
Huh.
These ingredients are added to enhance the flavor, the texture, or shelf life, but they can also have implications for our health.
So let's do a little recap here.
Okay.
One of the key takeaways is that ultra-processed foods go through a lot more processing.
Right.
They have all these added ingredients that we wouldn't use at home, and they kind of veer away from whole natural foods.
Exactly.
But why should we even care?
Well, that's where it gets interesting, because research has linked diets that are high in ultra-processed foods to a variety of health problems.
Like what?
Things like obesity, heart disease, and even some types of cancer. Now, this doesn't mean that having a bag of chips every now and then is going to ruin your health, but it's about recognizing patterns in our diets.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's all about moderation, like with anything else.
Exactly.
But knowing what to look for on those labels can definitely help us make more informed choices.
Absolutely.
So one last time, ultra-processed foods, highly processed.
Yes.
Lots of crazy ingredients.
Yeah.
And can have some negative health implications.
Precisely. And now that you know what to look for, I want you to think about something.
Okay.
How can understanding these characteristics empower you to make more informed choices about the food you eat?
Such a great point. And thank you all for joining us for another deep dive. We hope this has given you some serious food for thought.